Wake up. Susan jolted upright, her breath catching in her throat. Ethan was sitting at the far end of the couch, his dark eyes fixed on her like a predator cornering its prey. His voice, cold and unyielding, sent a chill down her spine. When did you come back? So, how are you now? She asked timidly, her voice trembling. Ethan's gaze burned with fury as he stood abruptly, towering over her. Because of you, he began, his tone sharp and cutting. I spent the entire night hooked up to an IV in the hospital. Susan's stomach twisted painfully as guilt consumed her. Before she could respond, Ethan's anger surged again, his voice rising. Susan, the biggest regret of my life is marrying you. I shouldn't have saved you from that damn manor. Letting you stay there would have been better for both of us. Her face drained of color. His words hit her like a slap, but deep down she couldn't fault him. If she were in his place, she'd likely feel the same. I'm sorry, she whispered, her voice cracking under the weight of her shame. I'm so sorry. I won't ever do something like that again. Next time? Ethan's hand shot out, grabbing her chin with enough force to make her gasp. His eyes were a tempest of rage and disgust. Do you think there will be a next time? I'm repulsed just looking at you. Throwing yourself at me like that, do you have no shame? You're as filthy as a street whore. The venom in his words stung worse than any physical blow, and tears sprang into Susan's eyes, blurring her vision. Her silence only seemed to fuel Ethan's anger further. What's the point of crying? Don't think for a second I'll pity you just because of a few tears, he snapped. His tone was icy, his disdain palpable. Listen carefully, I don't want to eat anything you cook anymore. Don't appear in front of me. Don't step into my room. Your presence makes me sick. With that final blow, Ethan stormed out of the house, the door slamming shut behind him. Susan crumpled onto the floor, her body shaking as waves of despair washed over her. He was an impenetrable wall, and her foolish attempt to climb it had only pushed him further away. Not only had she failed to make him care for her, but now he utterly despised her. What's the point, she thought bitterly. I shouldn't have forced something that was never mine to begin with. Dragging her blanket behind her, Susan staggered into the bedroom. Her legs felt weak and her body ached from the night before. The icy shower and the emotional turmoil had drained her completely. As she collapsed onto the bed, she noticed the faint tickle of a fever creeping over her. Her head throbbed and her body felt heavy and weak. She must have caught a cold after sleeping uncovered on the couch. Exhausted, she closed her eyes and succumbed to a restless sleep. The shrill ring of her phone startled her awake. Groggy and disoriented, she reached for it, squinting at the screen. Helen's cheerful voice rang out as soon as she answered. So? How did it go? Was it a success? Susan's heart sank, her throat tightening as she remembered Ethan's furious words and the icy water drenching her face. She swallowed hard, unsure of how to respond. What happened? Helen's voice carried a note of urgency. Susan let out a soft, bitter laugh. You're overthinking. Still, Helen wasn't convinced, so Susan relented and recounted the entire incident, sparing no details. As she finished, Helen went quiet, a heavy sigh finally escaping her. Sorry, Susan. I probably didn't think things through, Helen admitted, her voice tinged with guilt. Susan forced a small smile, though the weight of her thoughts pressed heavily on her. It's not your fault. He's not into me, and I shouldn't have tried to force it. Honestly, what was I thinking? I got into this marriage for all the wrong reasons, just to take revenge on Jacob. Her voice trembled slightly as the realization hit her. Helen, do you think I should never have married Ethan? Was it all a mistake? Helen sighed deeply. You've already started down this path, Susan. What's done is done. Are you really going to stop halfway? What would that solve? A divorce? The word lingered in the air, unspoken yet heavy. Susan remained silent, her mind racing. Divorce. Is that what I should do? After hanging up the call, Susan slowly got up, her movements sluggish and heavy. She glanced toward the master bedroom, the door ajar. It was clear Ethan had already left. She let out a sigh, feeling the sting of his absence. He's changed. Since last night, his attitude toward her had shifted completely, leaving her tense and unsure of herself. Susan wandered into the kitchen and cooked herself some plain noodles, the act of eating mechanical and devoid of enjoyment. As she was cleaning up, her phone buzzed. Hello? Joseph's voice came through the line, brisk and professional. Susan, have you finished rendering the sketch for President Langston's villa? Yes, it's done, she replied immediately. Good. Bring it over to Langston Corporation. He's been asking for it. Got it, Susan said, wasting no time. She quickly changed into something presentable, grabbed her work, and headed out. At Langston Corporation. The towering building stood in the heart of California's newly developed ecological zone, surrounded by sleek skyscrapers and lush landscaping. The modern architecture was intimidating, yet awe-inspiring. After introducing herself to the receptionist, Susan was granted immediate access to the upper floors. As she waited for the elevator, she caught sight of a familiar figure exiting from another one across the lobby. The graceful posture and expensive purse made it unmistakable. It was Sonia Langston, Jacob's mother. Susan froze. What's she doing here? Sonia didn't notice her and strode purposefully toward the main doors, her heels clicking against the polished floor. The ding of the elevator startled Susan, and she stepped inside, her mind a whirl of confusion. First Jacob at Green Mountain, now Sonia here? She thought. How coincidental can it get? Her thoughts shifted rapidly as she tried to piece together the puzzle. Sebastian's last name is Langston. Could he be related to Sonia? The idea gnawed at her, but she quickly shook her head. No, Jacob would have mentioned it if his family had ties to someone as influential as Sebastian. Wouldn't he? The headache that followed only added to her frustration. The elevator doors slid open, pulling her back to the present. Taking a steadying breath, Susan stepped out and made her way to the president's office, her sketch portfolio in hand. Sebastian happened to be entertaining a visitor, so she waited at the side for a while. Only after the guest left did she submit the sketch and rendering. Actually, I just called Joseph to ask about it without meaning to urge you. I didn't expect that you were done with it already. Indeed, you're highly efficient. Sebastian accepted the sketch from Susan, his eyes briefly scanning the intricate design. When his gaze shifted to her, he froze for a moment, his expression softening. Miss Drew, you don't look well. Have you been staying up late to finish this? His voice carried genuine concern. Susan blinked, caught off guard. She had felt exhausted over the past 2 days, both physically and emotionally, but she thought her makeup had hidden the worst of it. No, it's not that, she replied with a faint smile. I've just had some mild insomnia lately. Sebastian studied her quietly for a moment. He couldn't help but feel that her sleeplessness had less to do with work and more to do with Jacob and Sophia's upcoming wedding. Pity stirred in him, though he masked it quickly. Then, a detail struck him. His sister had left the wedding invitation on his desk earlier, and he'd forgotten to put it away. His heart sank as he noticed Susan's gaze drifting toward it. The ivory card, adorned with elegant gold embossing, was impossible to miss. The names Jacob Smith and Sophia Drew gleamed in bold lettering. Susan's eyes narrowed slightly, her lips curving into a faint, unreadable smile. Mr. Langston, do you know the Smith and Drew families? Sebastian inwardly cursed his lapse in attention. Clearing his throat, he tucked the invitation into a drawer, his movements deliberate but calm. They're just distant relatives, he replied lightly, careful to keep his tone neutral. Susan studied him for a moment, her expression unreadable. Just as I thought. Oh, she said simply, letting the subject drop. Well, let me walk you through the sketch in detail, Mr. Langston. Sebastian nodded, relieved by her apparent indifference. Though he wasn't entirely convinced, he was grateful she hadn't pressed the matter further. As Susan began explaining the details of the design, she stood in front of Sebastian's desk, gesturing at the intricate elements of the sketch. However, the upside-down view from her angle made it difficult for her to point out specific features. She hesitated for a moment before moving around to Sebastian's side of the desk. Standing closer, she leaned over slightly to gesture at a particular section of the plan, her professional demeanor unwavering. Sebastian's eyes flickered briefly toward her as she leaned in, but he quickly refocused on the sketch. Her poise and focus impressed him. Despite whatever she might be going through, she maintained her professionalism.
Hey amazing viewers, it's Susan here. Thanks for sticking with us. By the time of the release of this video, only 11% of our viewers have joined the party by subscribing. and 89% of you might miss out on our next mind-blowing video. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and join the exclusive club.